Justin here for how to make fake blood. Now, you're asking yourself, Justin, in your haul video you mentioned that you prefer to use stage blood when you use blood effects. Why would you make fake blood? That's a very good question. You are absolutely right that I prefer to use stage blood when I do make blood effects because it is far more consistent, it is far less of a hassle to do, and it is actually less messy to acquire, since making fake blood is quite messy. But, like I also said, this is very expensive. This bottle itself costs about $9 for 4 ounces. So, if I need to acquire a lot of fake blood for a scene, I prefer to make it since it is far, far cheaper. Alright, fine, you ask yourself, how do I make this? Supplies you see here are everything that you need to make fake blood. We've got 16 ounces of dark corn syrup, food coloring, more red food coloring, cocoa powder, and Hershey's chocolate. Materials you see here are a teaspoon, a cup, a half a cup, and some sort of bowl or container. I use this pot here because it has edges that allow it to pour more easily. First thing you need to do is pour in the cocoa powder. You need a half cup of cocoa powder, or if you get them in the pouches, 3 pouches will suffice. Once you get that cocoa powder done, you take hot water. Pour in 2 cups of your hot water. Try not to spill, like I did, everywhere. Do a much better job. Do not spill the hot water. And don't burn yourself. Stir it together well. After you're done, you need to pour in your dark corn syrup. We use dark corn syrup instead of light corn syrup because the light corn syrup doesn't get you the color and consistency of the blood that you want. Dark corn syrup is much better. You want to put in 2 cups of dark corn syrup. What's fantastic about these 16-ounce bottles is that they're exactly 2 cups. So you don't even need to measure, you just need to pour in the entire thing of corn syrup. Once all the corn syrup is poured in there, stir again to mix it up. Continue to stir until the corn syrup and cocoa water is blended well. Now it's time to add the food coloring. The reason why we bought extra red is obviously because blood is red, and so we'll be needing to add a lot more red food coloring than any other color. We're going to add 4 teaspoons of red food coloring. Make sure to be careful with the red food coloring, as in its concentrated form it will stain very easily. Stir well. You want to add 7 drops of blue or green food coloring to add a little bit of more brown color to your blood, since blood has that little brown reddish bit. Stir. So now you got a pretty decent mixture of blood. Your blood's pretty thin right now. You want to add in Hershey's chocolate syrup to add more of that red-brown color and thicken it up. I add about a 1/4 cup of chocolate syrup, then stir it together, and there you have it. You have your complete blood mixture. It is done. I bet you're asking yourself, I'm a little shaky about that. That didn't look much like blood. Well, you know, if you have some questions, just feel free to ask.
So you want me to make blood? How much is something like that going to cost?
I'm glad you asked. Like I said, the stage blood costs at best $1 per ounce. Okay, so our blood, for the first batch you make, since you have to buy all of these supplies for it, cost me about $17. But every subsequent batch after that you make costs about $6, since you can reuse most of the materials you bought, and you only have to really rebuy the food coloring and the corn syrup every time.
Well, that seems like a lot of blood to make. Do I have to use it all that day, or can I save it for other zombie things that might come up in the future?
No, you don't have to use it that day. Ideally, you will use the fake blood within 2 to 3 days of making it, since it is edible, and if you're going to be putting it in your mouth, you want it to taste as good as possible. But if you refrigerate it, it can stay up to 2 weeks, but I would not recommend you using it as an edible blood or putting it in your mouth after the 3-day period. Also, if you freeze the blood in freezer-safe containers, it stays for months, even years.
Okay, so how much does a single batch of blood make?
That is an excellent question, Christina. About that much, or about 32 ounces, which is a quart, or whatever that makes in metric.
You are a terrible roommate. Does this stain?
No, the great thing about this blood is that I've been doing this for 10 years, and it is washed out of about 99% of all clothes that we've covered in blood.
High five.
Thanks for watching. Okay.
Thanks for watching.
This has been a demonstration of how to make edible fake blood using cheap stuff you can get at the grocery store. If you do use this recipe, post down in the comments below what you decided to use it for, or maybe even make a response video and post it down there as well. Thanks for watching.